If every night you go to bed without realizing that a small habit could be affecting your circulation while you sleep, today you're going to understand what's happening inside your body and, most importantly, how you can correct it starting tonight with simple, practical actions. Let me tell you something very clearly. There's something you probably do right before going to bed that, without you noticing, can make your blood thicker and put your brain at risk. And no, I'm not talking about smoking or drinking alcohol. I'm referring to something that seems completely harmless, something millions of people repeat every night without imagining the consequences. As a physician, I've seen too many cases that could have been prevented. People arrive at the emergency room with a cerebrovascular event, and when I review their nighttime routines, I find the same pattern again and again. It's something so simple that many underestimate it, yet delicate enough to turn a night of rest into hours of silent risk. In fact, recent studies show that a large portion of these events happen during the night or in the early morning hours. And this is no coincidence. Today I want to explain exactly what that mistake is, how it affects your circulation while you sleep, and what you can start doing today to reduce that risk. Stay with me, because this information can not only help you, it can also make a difference in the life of someone you care about. Throughout my experience in consultation, I've spoken with many patients who, after an episode, tell me with confusion, "Dr. Gabriel Mena, I took care of myself, I exercised, I ate well, what happened?" And when we take a closer look at their habits before bed, that's where we find the answer. I've seen relatively young people lose mobility in part of their body, parents who suddenly struggle to speak, grandparents who can no longer move as freely as before. And in many of these cases, it wasn't genetics or bad luck. It was a nighttime habit that no one explained to them in time. I'm not telling you this to scare you, but to give you tools. Because unlike other risk factors you can't control, this one depends on you. And by the time you finish this video, you'll know exactly what to do to protect your health. Before we talk about the most common mistakes, you need to understand something essential: what happens in your body while you sleep and why the night can be a sensitive time for your circulation. Imagine for a moment that your blood is like a river flowing through your body. During the day, that river moves strongly, constantly in motion. But at night, especially in the early morning hours, important changes occur. First, your blood pressure naturally drops. This is normal, but it also means your blood circulates with less force. Second, your body remains almost still for hours, and movement is essential for maintaining good circulation. And third, you go many hours without drinking fluids. Now think about this. Your brain, even though it's small, consumes a large amount of oxygen. It needs a constant blood flow to function properly. But when that blood becomes thicker, it becomes harder to move. It's like trying to push a dense liquid through a very narrow tube. Everything slows down, becomes more difficult. And if there's a vulnerable area or a clot forms, that's when problems can appear. It has been observed that the early hours of the morning are especially delicate. Your body is more dehydrated, your blood may be more concentrated, and your system begins to activate after rest. That combination can create a challenging scenario. Now that you understand this, let's move to the first mistake, and I want you to pay close attention because it's more common than you think. The first mistake is not hydrating properly before going to bed and not having water nearby during the night. I know what you're thinking. If I drink water, I'll have to get up to use the bathroom. But here's the important point. While you sleep, your body continuously loses fluids, even if you don't notice it. Through breathing and perspiration, you can lose a significant amount of water. And if you add that to several hours without drinking anything, your body enters a state of progressive dehydration. Let me ask you something. How much time passes between your last drink before bed and your first glass of water in the morning? For many people, it can be 10 hours or more. That's too long without hydration. When this happens, your blood becomes more concentrated. And that concentration can affect how it circulates through your body. I remember the case of Roberto, a 52-year-old patient. He had a relatively healthy lifestyle. However, he had the habit of stopping fluid intake early in the evening because he didn't want to interrupt his sleep. One morning, his wife found him struggling to move and speak. Over time, as we analyzed his routine, we realized he spent many hours without hydration, in a warm environment, and with dinners that promoted dehydration. It was a combination of factors that gradually affected his body. That's why I want to give you practical recommendations you can apply starting today. First, drink a glass of water about an hour before going to bed. You don't need to overdo it, just give your body a good starting point. Second, keep water near your bed. If you wake up, take small sips. It's not about drinking large amounts, but about maintaining balance. Third, when you wake up, before any other drink, have water. This helps reactivate your body after so many hours without hydration. And fourth, if you're concerned about waking up at night, try to have your last drink with enough time before going to bed so your body can process it. You might need to get up once at first, but think about what matters more, a small interruption or taking care of your long-term health. Now stay with me, because there's a second mistake that is even more deceptive and that many people make every night without realizing it. The second mistake has to do with what you eat before going to bed, especially foods high in salt. Many people believe they eat light dinners, but they include products that contain more sodium than they realize. Crackers, processed cheeses, ready-made foods, or sauces can add significant amounts without you noticing. During the day, your body has more opportunities to balance these excesses. You move, drink fluids, and eliminate what you don't need. But at night, everything changes. When you consume sodium before bed, it remains in your system for hours while your body is at rest. And this can influence your internal balance, affecting how your system works during sleep. That's why it's so important to pay attention not only to how much you eat, but what you eat in the final hours of the day. If your dinner is high in salt or you choose processed foods at night, you may be affecting your circulation while you sleep without realizing it. And today I want to show you how to correct this in a practical way to protect your body starting tonight. Sodium acts in your body like a sponge. It attracts and retains water in your bloodstream. When you consume more than needed, your body holds onto fluid within your blood vessels to dilute it, increasing blood volume. What does that mean? More pressure against your artery walls. But here's something rarely explained clearly. That pressure doesn't stay the same all night. It has peaks, especially in the early morning hours when your body begins to activate. At that moment, your nervous system kicks in and releases hormones like cortisol. Your blood pressure, which had dropped during sleep, starts rising quickly. Now imagine this. If your arteries are already under increased pressure due to excess volume caused by sodium, and then you add that natural morning rise, you create a delicate situation. That's when a vulnerable artery may be affected or when a clot may move more easily. I remember Maria, a 48-year-old patient who came to my consultation because she woke up almost every day with headaches. I asked her to do something simple, write down everything she ate for 2 weeks. When we reviewed it, we found the answer. Her dinners were full of processed foods. Instant soups, cold cuts, commercial dressings, and on top of that, she had salty snacks before bed. Without realizing it, she was accumulating a large amount of sodium every night. It was a silent habit. I suggested very specific changes: reduce processed foods, choose fresh options, and avoid salty foods at night. Within a few weeks, her headaches disappeared and her morning blood pressure improved significantly. She had prevented the problem from progressing. So I want you to take this with you and apply it today. First, avoid processed foods at dinner. Anything that comes in packages, cans, or boxes usually contains hidden sodium. Learn to read labels because that's often where the answer is. Second, when cooking at night, use herbs and spices instead of salt. Ingredients like garlic, lemon, rosemary, or pepper can add flavor without affecting your internal balance. Your taste will adapt faster than you think. Third, if you feel the need to eat something before bed, choose natural options. Fruits, vegetables, or a small handful of unsalted nuts can be a better alternative. Fourth, pay attention to condiments. Many commercial sauces contain large amounts of sodium. Opt for simpler versions or homemade options. And there's one rule that can make a big difference. Avoid salty foods in the hours before sleep. This single change can significantly reduce risks. Now, there's a third mistake that many people make without even noticing, and it has to do with something you do every night automatically: your sleeping position and the type of pillow you use. It may sound surprising, but the way you sleep directly influences how blood reaches your brain. Important arteries pass through your neck, carrying oxygen and nutrients. These structures are flexible, but also sensitive to how you position your head. If you sleep with your neck in a forced position, tilted too far to one side, bent forward or backward, or if you use an unsuitable pillow, you may create unnecessary pressure that affects blood flow. Think of it like a hose. When it's straight, water flows easily. But if you bend it, the flow decreases. Something similar happens in your body. I've treated patients who wake up with numbness in their face or weakness in an arm, and when we review their habits, we find that their sleeping position was playing a bigger role than they imagined. I remember Fernando, 56 years old. He had changed his pillow to a firmer, higher one because he thought it was better for his back. But he slept on his side, and that pillow was forcing his neck for hours. Over time, that constant pressure affected his well-being. In addition, your posture also influences your breathing. Sleeping on your back without proper support can worsen nighttime breathing issues. When breathing is interrupted, your body responds by increasing pressure to compensate, adding more stress to your system. That's why it's essential to make a few simple adjustments. Check your pillow. It should allow your neck to stay aligned with your spine. Not too high, not too flat. If you sleep on your side, make sure your head isn't tilted up or down. If you sleep on your back, ensure your neck has natural support. Avoid sleeping on your stomach, as it forces your neck to rotate for long periods. And if you notice loud snoring or pauses in breathing, it's important to get it checked. It's also helpful not to stay in the same position all night. Gently changing positions can reduce constant pressure. And now I want you to pay close attention, because the next mistake is one of the most delicate, and many people make it every night without realizing it. It has to do with using certain medications before bed, especially those taken regularly to relieve pain or discomfort. I'm not saying these medications are bad. When used correctly, they can be helpful. But when they become a nightly habit, they can influence your body's natural balance during sleep. These medications reduce inflammation, but they also interfere with processes that help maintain proper circulation balance. And that's where we need to be careful. If every night you're taking something without realizing it could affect your circulation, today you have the opportunity to correct it and reduce a risk that many overlook until it's too late. There's something important you need to understand. Your blood contains cells responsible for forming clots when necessary, like when you have a wound. That's a natural protection mechanism. But when certain medications alter this balance, those cells can become more active than they should, more likely to clump together. Now combine that with everything we've discussed. Hours without hydration, thicker blood, posture affecting flow, and sodium intake. If you add frequent medication use to that, you create a delicate situation. I've seen many cases like this. I remember Carmen, a 61-year-old patient. Every night she took medication for pain because she felt she couldn't rest without it. She trusted it because it didn't require a prescription. But she also ate processed foods, drank little water at night, and had undiagnosed breathing issues. One day, her family noticed something was wrong. Her speech had changed and part of her face showed weakness. When we analyzed everything, we understood it wasn't just one factor, but the combination of habits. And this is what I want you to take with you today. This is not about fear, it's about awareness. Many medications can be useful, but regular use, especially at night, can have cumulative effects you should understand. If this is your case, there are clear steps you can take. First, talk to your doctor. There are alternatives to manage pain or improve sleep that don't affect your body the same way. If you need medication, try taking it during the day and always with food and proper hydration. Avoid combining it with alcohol, especially at night. Also, address the root cause. If you have ongoing pain or trouble sleeping, don't just mask it. Find out why. There may be safer, more effective solutions. And if you're over 50 or have conditions like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or family history, it's even more important to get a full evaluation and keep your doctor informed. Now let's review everything in a simple way so you can apply it starting today. The first mistake is lack of hydration at night. You go many hours without water, your body loses fluids, and that affects circulation. The solution is simple: hydrate before bed, keep water nearby, and start your day with water. The second mistake is excess salt at dinner or nighttime snacks. This affects your body's balance during sleep. The key is choosing fresh foods, avoiding processed products, and reducing salt in the evening. The third mistake is your sleeping position. Poor posture or an unsuitable pillow can have a bigger impact than you think. Adjusting this can make a real difference. And the fourth mistake is frequent use of certain medications before bed without proper guidance. This is one of the most important because many people do it without understanding the long-term effects. When these four factors combine, your body faces a greater load during the night. But here's the most important part: all of these changes are in your hands. You don't need complicated solutions. Just small, conscious adjustments to your routine can help protect your health in a real way. Tonight, you can start. Prepare your glass of water, check your dinner, look at your pillow, and reflect on the habits you can improve. Now I'd like to hear from you. Tell me in the comments which of these habits you recognized in your routine. By sharing, you may also help others who are going through the same thing. If you feel this information could help someone close to you, share it. Sometimes a simple video can create a meaningful change in someone's life. And if you want to keep learning in a clear and practical way about how to take care of your health, subscribe, turn on notifications, and join me here where we share content every day designed especially for you. I also want to invite you to pause for a moment and give thanks. Be grateful for your life, your body, and the opportunity to learn and improve. Taking care of your health is also an act of self-love and gratitude. Here on Dr. Gabriel Mena's channel, we are truly grateful to walk this path with you, sharing useful information to improve your habits and your well-being. Tomorrow we'll have a new video to continue taking care of you. I'll see you there. Take care of yourself because your health matters, and so do you.